Alrighty, testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning. We are in Hartford City. Are we good? Okay, awesome. You're so welcome.
You guys all ready? Okay. I'm joined today by Deputy Commissioner Gabriel Laureano, Deputy Chief Gabriel Laureano, and Captain Kevin O'Brien, who was the incident commander last night. I want to give you some of the facts that we have been able to confirm. We'll give a short statement and happy to take as many questions as you have. Our police chief, unfortunately, was already scheduled to testify in Superior Court on a completely unrelated matter, but he and I have been in, as you can imagine, constant communication both last night and this morning, both in person and over the phone, and will continue to do so as developments emerge in this incident. At this time, my office can confirm the following information, and we'll share additional facts as they come about. But as you all know, last night, January 8th, vigil and protest took place at 6 p.m. Outside of the federal building, the Rubakoff building at 450 Main Street. It's estimated that approximately 200 people were in attendance. At one point, a group of attendees observed some federal employees exiting the rear of the building on the Sheldon Street side and attempted to obstruct their exit. One of those vehicles that we believe was driven by a federal employee made contact with a protester, knocking them to the ground. That individual was offered assistance at the scene by local first responders, but declined. I think it's worth noting that we don't have the identity of that individual, but we'll work to ascertain that. The individual, a separate individual, struck that same vehicle with an object, shattering the rear window as it was exiting. The vehicle drove off after that. The city and the Hartford Police Department were, after the protests, made aware of allegations of pepper spray being used, being deployed. The Hartford Police Department didn't themselves deploy pepper spray and weren't aware of the incident as it occurred. No arrests were made by HPD, and the crowd dispersed at approximately 7:45 p.m. I've instructed the Hartford Police Department last night to open an investigation and to treat these incidents like we would any incidents of violence in our city. So we will be investigating what appears to be a hit-and-run incident by what we believe to be a federal employee, as we would any other hit-and-run in the city of Hartford. We will investigate what appears to be assault two by an unknown individual with pepper spray being used on attendees of the vigil last night, as we would any other use of pepper spray, unlawful use of pepper spray in a public space here in Hartford. And we will investigate the incident of property destruction as we would any other incident of property destruction here in the city. But I want to make this clear, and I think this is really important. What we saw last night was a peaceful vigil in the city of Hartford turned violent. And that violence didn't come from the city of Hartford. That violence is a direct result of the lawlessness and recklessness of the Trump administration that has occurred over the past year, and that last night came here to the city of Hartford. It resulted earlier this week in the death of Renee Good in Minneapolis. That chaos that we saw last night didn't come from the city of Hartford. It has come out of the White House and been visited upon cities all across America. And last night, Hartford was just the latest. At the same time, we cannot give in to that violence, that lawlessness, because it's not who we are as a city. We must rise above. And I know people are hurt, they're angry, they're scared. Those are justifiable feelings at this time. But we need to make our voices heard in peaceful ways, because that's who we are as a city. As a federal administration tries to sow chaos and violence in cities like Hartford that have seen the greatest peace, the greatest violence interruption in this past year that we have ever seen. We cannot let them do so. We are going to continue to work to heal from this incident last night. We're going to continue to work to build a community in the midst of chaos. I want to repeat that one more time. As a city, we are going to work to heal from the incidents of last night, and we will continue to build community in the midst of this chaos. While the Trump administration seeks to sow violence here, we in the city of Hartford will rise above. We will work closely with our police department on this investigation as it is ongoing, but we will also come together as one, as a city, to heal and to move forward together. Thank you, and with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
How many police officers were at the protest? Because I'm sure they were aware that this protest would be happening. So were they there while all of this was going on?
I think it's important to note, we did have a police presence last night, and happy to answer questions on numbers. I think it's important to note that there was a very peaceful very peaceful vigil happening in the front of the federal building, that the vast majority of those individuals didn't engage in what was happening in the back, that many of these news cameras were there last night and weren't aware of what was happening in the back. Obviously, as soon as we were made aware, we worked to disperse that crowd and to restore peace to that street there. But I think from all of the individuals who were present that I've spoken to, Hartford Police acted both quickly, but also giving those who were grieving and those who were demonstrating the room they needed to do so. The Hartford Police I think, does a remarkable job of allowing for public expressions of speech to occur peacefully, and we've seen that time and time again in the city, but interrupting incidents of violence.
So at this point with the pepper spray, at this point you guys are saying they're unknown individuals. I guess my question is, how many unknown individuals were deploying pepper spray, and do you know if they were ICE officers?
I should say this across the board. We have suspicions of, we strongly believe the individual driving the car was a federal employee of some type. We have suspicions that the individual who deployed the pepper spray was in some ways affiliated with the federal government. We don't have any level of coordination or cooperation from DHS in this investigation that we have undertaken. And so we are not able to confirm that at this point, but we'll continue to investigate it. And this is important. You know, here in the city of Hartford, we believe in the rule of law. We believe in a system of justice that other jurisdictions might not always follow these days. But this is how a process plays out. There's an investigation, we look at the facts, and we prosecute based on those facts. And so Hartford PD is doing what the federal government sometimes fails to do in this administration, and conducting an actual thorough investigation.
Do you know for sure the people in the car were federal employees, or again, those are also?
We don't. It's a strong suspicion, but you know, in our reach outs to DHS, they have indicated that they're doing their own internal investigation that's been pushed up to Boston, and they are refusing to share any details with us until that completes itself. I don't expect, given our history with this administration, that the federal government will be complying and cooperating with us on this investigation. But we will, as soon as we get any confirmation of any details along the way, we'll certainly let you guys know.
It does sound like you've been able.
Sorry, I want to.
Do you believe that there were federal employees involved in those vehicles driving?
We don't know. Obviously, there were different types of vehicles, and there weren't direct incidents related to that initial vehicle. So I think we're a little more focused on who was coming behind in that white van. But we can't confirm the individuals in either of those vehicles or the individual who appeared to have used pepper spray. And that's, this is one of the frustrating things about this. Obviously, like any other incident, we want to do everything we can to investigate. If there is a federal government that refuses to cooperate in that investigation, then it certainly stymies the efforts of local law enforcement.
Did ICE take anybody into custody last night?
Not that I'm aware of. We certainly have not been made aware of that.
It does sound like, based on the license plates and the location of the vehicles, that you were able to ascertain that they were federal vehicles, or is that not correct?
No, we are continuing to investigate and to try to get a good read on the license plate, but we haven't been able to confirm that. We certainly would let the public know once we are able to.
And then also, based on the fact that this administration has empowered ICE agents to take decisive action against protesters, is there anything that you want to say to people who are considering coming to these events in the future about their safety in those situations?
Well, look, I think that people here in the city of Hartford should absolutely use their First Amendment rights to express their voices. This is a sanctuary city. This is a city that is meant to be safe for all residents. And I think we should make our voices heard and ensure that the federal government is forced to listen. At the same time, we cannot give in to the kind of violence that Trump so badly wants to see in cities like this. We cannot let ourselves devolve into the version of a city that Trump believes we are. That's not who we are. This is a city that really respects one another, that loves one another, that builds community, that respects the rule of law here in our community. This is a beautiful community. And what we are seeing is a community that has become less and less violent every year thanks to the work of our police department and the work of community leaders. We had the lowest number of shootings. I think it's important as context. We've had the lowest number of shootings in the city of Hartford that we think there's ever been on record here in this city. We had 50% less homicides this year than last year, and last year was a record year in terms of safety in the city. We are doing a pretty good job keeping our city safe. What happens is when the Trump administration sows chaos in cities, we can see that it incites unrest. When you rule with brutality, it incites unrest. And so we are encouraging people to not participate in this game that the Trump administration is trying to play to make us, devolve to the lesser versions of ourselves. We must rise above as a city because it's who we are as Hartford, and we've got to make our voices heard in peaceful ways.
Once you identify these individuals, what kind of charges could they potentially face?
Well, I said it at the top, I think we'd be investigating a potential evasion of responsibility on the hit and run. I think we'd be investigating a potential assault too on the unlawful use of pepper spray. I think we'd be investigating the property damage from the individual who struck the vehicle that we suspect is a federal vehicle. But there's an investigation. There's a reason for that investigation. We've got to ascertain all the facts. We've got to understand exactly what happened. And we, unlike the federal administration, are not going to rush to judgment. We are going to continue to uphold rule of law here in the city of Hartford.
I think a lot of people have seen videos of the pepper spray of the car. When it comes to the window smashing, is there a video of that you guys are using for your investigation?
Well, as part of our ongoing work, the Hartford Police Department is continually looking to ascertain any evidence it can. And so there's a range of things that you've seen that we've probably looked at as well. We are looking at every bit of evidence we can, and that's sort of the usual course of business for an ongoing investigation. We'll continue to do so.
Right, and going back to Channel 8's question with the amount of police presence there last night, were you guys expecting the crowd to be that big? Was it adequately staffed?
Yeah, for a crowd of 200, it was absolutely adequately staffed. In fact, we're conservative in our police presence. I think, as we have been in many of these incidents, I think most of the people there, I've talked to people who were at the protest who went home and this morning were confused about my statement because they didn't know that anything happened on the side. There was a lot of your news cameras, Channel 8 might have been there, were there at the scene when it was going on and didn't know that something was happening on the side. So, look, I think that our police were focused on the place where there was an announced vigil and protest. I think some small group of individuals decided to take that around the corner and express their anger in ways that we ask them as a city that takes pride in what we do as a city, that is trying to become less violent as a city, to not engage in unlawful behavior here in the city of Hartford. We all got to do so peacefully, and I think the police were able to respond once it was clear among the crowd that something was going on.
And so, did police actually break up the thing that was happening on the side?
I think when the crowd got dispersed at around 7:45, I think that there was a police presence involved in that.
Is there any way we can get numbers?
Yeah.
Specifically on numbers on what? I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
The number of police officers
Can
who
you
were
get the
there.
number of officers who were working that night?
Uniform officers, approximately 10 to 12 were there. In uniform, we also have individuals monitor through C4 and things of that nature, and other individuals. But uniform presence, 10 to 12 officers.
Were there any undercover officers?
We always have individuals such as C4 cameras watching these incidents.
Obviously, when disclose that directly, it's also important as context to realize this is a capital city, and very often when we talk about the additional burden of a capital city, We have very frequent demonstrations, protests. In fact, that was only one of two just that afternoon and evening. Every single day there's some sort of a demonstration, and it involves some calculation on police presence in the city. And I think if you look at the history of the Hartford Police Department over the last several years, coming out of George Floyd protests, when a lot of other cities had real tension, I think the Hartford Police Department has done a good job of not dispersing crowds who are just trying to express their First Amendment rights, while also ensuring the safety of everybody involved. And I think this is another case of that. Unfortunately, this thing happened on the side that wasn't part of the official protest, that many of the folks there didn't immediately understand was happening.
Were those protesters in any violation of law for blocking that car from being able to get out of the garage and kind of crowding around it?
That'll be part of the investigation. I think the most likely violation was the individual who smashed the back window of that vehicle. But certainly anything that is a violation of the law on any street in the city of Hartford will be investigated last night on Sheldon Street and treated as such.
Was anyone hit with the pepper spray?
It appears, the reports we've gotten, the videos we've seen, it appears that there were individuals who were hit with the pepper spray.
Were those protesters, or you don't know how many who?
I believe so, but we certainly don't have any confirmation on who each of those individuals are and the purpose of being there that evening.
What's the standard protocol for local police when it comes to federal immigration officials, at these protests, maybe allegedly deploying, pepper spray, hitting people? What's your guys' role?
Well, this is not usual protocol. It's not something that I know of ever happening in the city of Hartford before. So we're in uncharted territory, but we're going to treat it like any other crime that happened in the city of Hartford. That we're going to investigate it. We're going to determine who was involved, and if they violated the law here in the city of Hartford, they're going to face consequences.
You just said you're kind of in uncharted territory here. If you were to see something, get to the point like what we saw in Minneapolis, you guys have some sort of plan of action that you would take if you saw something get to that level of violence?
Yeah, look, we're taking action now, and we haven't gotten to that level of violence. So I think it shows the responsiveness of this administration, this police department, and the fact that we take the safety of our residents and those who are here in the city of Hartford really seriously. We certainly don't want to see anything get to that level. But again, it's important to note that there is one individual who can stop this cycle of chaos that we continue to see, and that is Donald J. Trump. This cycle of violence came from the White House, and it has been perpetuated across cities all across America. This is a city that values safety. And what happened last night is not a reflection of Hartford. It is a reflection of the lawlessness and the chaos that this administration has tried intentionally to sow in cities just like this. And as a city, we are going to work to rise above that lawlessness. We're going to work to rise above that chaos and continue to build the beautiful community that we have right here.
Was anyone taken to the hospital as a result of last night's?
We don't believe so. In fact, the individual who was struck refused service on the scene. We had first responders show up and offer services right there. We have no reports of anybody being taken to the hospital.
The person who was struck by the van.
Yes,
The white man, right?
the white man. Yeah.
I saw some folks last night, verbally berating Hartford police officers, and officers seemed to remain calm.
Yeah.
As these expletives were, so I was just wondering whether there were any other interactions between Hartford police and protesters last night, apart from what happened on the other side of the building, if that's concerned.
Yeah, I'll say this. Look, in my time as mayor, I've seen a number of interactions in which people have verbally berated the Hartford police officers who were there to keep them safe. And our officers undergo de-escalation training. They undergo a lot of training for incidents like that. I'll say they also have incredible thick skins. Folks who put their lives on the line, who come out to work every day to serve our city. 90% of the city treats them like heroes, and some portion of folks who may or may not be from the city of Hartford really vilify them. And I've seen just a remarkable love for the city and a determination to respond without escalation.
And yet now we potentially have this other law enforcement presence coming into the city that might be trained in a different manner. Can you
Absolutely.
comment on that contrast and how people should think about that presence in terms of their own personal safety?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's a very clear contrast. You have folks who have the Hartford seal on their shoulder who love the city and care about this community. And you've got folks from the outside who too often we've seen in so many cities really thrive on stoking unrest. And it is why I have said time and time again that the Trump administration should leave Hartford alone, that we know what we're doing here when it comes to keeping this city safe. And we don't want any additional presence when it comes to immigration enforcement or anything of the like. We're going to do everything we can to keep our residents safe. We're going to do everything we can to de-escalate the level of chaos and violence we've seen in communities all around this country. And we're going to continue to build community here in the city of Hartford.
Just want to get everything straight here. So the drivers of the van appear to be federal agents. You suspect that?
Yeah, we suspect that. We can't confirm that.
Okay. And then the individual with pepper spray, you are under the impression he's connected to the federal government, but at this point he's an unknown individual.
Yeah. I mean, based on the fact that it seems like he walked out of, what's that?
Did he come out of one of the cars?
I don't want to draw conclusions. I haven't seen indication of that. But again, that's as we get more details, we'll certainly share that with the public.
One person pepper spray?
We again don't know. The pepper spray was something that we have not directly witnessed, but have seen videos of. Probably some of the same videos that you all have seen. And so we're still in a lot of ways still trying to ascertain the facts, which is why this is an ongoing investigation. And there will be due process in the city of Hartford that's not afforded to so many through the immigration enforcement system. There will be rule of law in the city of Hartford that's not afforded to so many through the immigration enforcement system. We're going to be a city of justice and rule of law. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.